The EU in late June set out a proposal for the legal structure behind the introduction of the digital euro.
In more than 20 years of existence, the euro has become a symbol of Europe's strength, unity and solidarity. It is a clear European success story. For many, cash is an important part of their daily lives, and most want to retain the option of paying with banknotes and coins.
The digital currency would be guaranteed by the European Central Bank, widely accepted and easily accessible, and provide a safe, secure and instant means of payment for people in the Eurozone. The physical form of the currency would, however, remain as legal tender. It would also address the changes in consumer payment preferences.
They increasingly choose to pay digitally with cards and apps such as digital wallets and contactless. With online purchases growing and people shifting preferences towards many digital payment methods on offer, cash can no longer support the EU's economy as it did before.
In the initial stage, the digital euro would be only available in the Eurozone, but in the next stage it would be possible to extend its use to other EU countries and even to third countries. The digital currency proposal allows the Eurozone to keep pace with the 130 countries currently exploring digital versions of their currencies, including China, which has already introduced it as part of a pilot scheme.
It's time for the euro to reflect and adapt to the digital age, to keep up with innovation and advances in technology.
The US is yet to make a decision on the introduction of the central bank digital currency and is currently assessing whether it would benefit the US economy. The so-called CBDC would bring a breath of fresh air to the widely outdated US payment system. Even 2 years ago, more than a fifth of cashless transactions were still made by check. New research from the US Central Bank proved that CBDC would lower the cost of international transfers, which in 2021 reached 5.4% of the value. New research from the US Central Bank proved that CBDCs would lower the cost of international transfers, which in 2021 reached 5.4% of the value. Even if banks were reluctant to give up those profitable charges, in the end they could be forced to introduce it to maintain the international relevance of the dollar. Opponents meanwhile claimed that the digital currency would give central banks too much oversight over people's finances.
And to discuss central bank digital currencies and their introduction into Europe, for a minute now, I'm joined by Krzysztof Zęba, who is a professor at Gdańsk University of Technology. Professor Zęba, thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Now, is it an inevitability now that central bank digital currency will be introduced, and is that good?
It seems so. It's obviously interesting for us economists, but it's only natural, actually. It's a natural consequence of Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, because both cryptocurrencies and those central bank digital currencies, they will be based on a very similar technology. I mean, they will be based on blockchain. And this technology has really a great potential. If you think of money that we use for financing our everyday transactions, there are basically two types of money. The first one is cash. So these are coins, banknotes. This is a very old type of money, very analog, not digital at all. On the other hand, you have this other type of money that is used for financing transactions. This is electronic money. These are all debit cards, credit cards, blick payments, this kind of stuff. But they are offered by commercial banks only. So they are not offered, they are not kind of authorized or guaranteed by central banks. So this central bank digital currency would be a big step forward towards having electronic money that is central bank money, not the one created by commercial banks. So this is a kind of game changer, I would say.
Right, so it means that, we saw those scenes in the spring where banks, there was a run on banks, and of course there were guarantees there, but that doesn't happen with every single bank run in every single country. Would this bring a kind of security for users? But at the same time, maybe users would be thinking, hey, the government knows exactly what I'm spending my money on, and maybe not like that.
Well, these are slightly two different things. I mean, runs on banks are slightly different from the issue of whether a central bank digital currency will be safe or not. This is a slightly different story, but obviously this kind of problem may exist. I mean, people may feel they are under too much of investigation from the government, on one hand. On the other hand, we are already quite good at tracing electronic money. So, frankly speaking, if you want to do some shady business, then you obviously stick with cash, because cash is much more difficult to trace. The third thing that I would mention is something that is the case, I believe, in China, because they already started some pilot schemes of electronic yuan. And the idea there was that this electronic money, this central bank digital currency, will have a certain validity date. So it will expire one day, and you won't be able to use it anymore. So that is something that is completely different. I mean, if you look at, $100 bill, it doesn't have any, best before or use it by. It's kind of eternal. I mean, we do not limit the value of $100 bill to a certain period of time. With digital currency, this might be possible. That would give additional tools, economic tools, to influence consumption, savings patterns. It offers a lot of possibilities, but also a lot of dangers as well.
That's interesting. I mean, when you say that a dollar does not expire, but many countries actually, when they bring in a new banknote, then the old banknotes disappear. Will it be the same with the currencies? That you have your 3,000. They're talking about only having up to 3,000 euros per day to spend for any individual. Will it be that you'll get a year to spend it, and then it has to be converted back into normal currency? How will it work?
Oh, it could be this. It could also be the situation when, for instance, your salary is paid and 50% of your salary must be spent till the end of the month, because otherwise you lose it. The money would just disappear.
Seriously? Right? Who's going to decide that for me?
Well, that would be
except for my wife.
Possible. Leave out your wife. But the thing is, with this kind of digital currency, you may declare for how long it would keep its value, right? So this is basically it, right? And if I have this kind of power that I can structure your salary in the sense that I can tell to what extent you can use your money and how quickly you must use your money, well, that would be a lot of control over the way that you spend your money, how quickly, on what, that is something quite challenging, I would say.
Right.
I'm not sure about the results that China had with this pilot program in this aspect, right? But what I remember, they had this kind of plan that this electronic yuan would have some validity date.
Now, one thing about the difference between central bank digital currency and cryptocurrency is that the central authorities would actually be able to pinpoint who the user of it is. Will, as some people say, will this drive the growth of cryptocurrency? People who are trying to avoid that?
As far as I know, this is simply a very popular myth that if you use Bitcoin payments, it's impossible to trace you. As a matter of fact, as far as I know, it is still possible to trace you. It's just much more complicated, but it's feasible. Okay, it can be done. That's one thing. The other thing is, well, there will be a huge difference probably between cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies, mostly because of the fact that nowadays cryptocurrencies are simply highly speculative financial assets. That's not money. These are not currencies, even though we call them cryptocurrencies, but they are hardly currencies, right? They lack some basic features of good money, as we call it in economics.
Will this be attractive to the kind of crypto enthusiast who currently buys stablecoin?
Right. It might be, especially that those CBDCs would probably be much safer than stable coins. I mean, we all know what happened recently with some stable coins. They are not that stable, in fact.
Right. Well, it's a fascinating topic. Obviously, it comes up as the value of other cryptocurrencies is rising, so it's always interesting to hear about it. Professor Krzysztof Zęba at Gdańsk University of Technology, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.